What's up, party people? It's Keys Dan with RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com, coming to you live and in living color from the Radio What studios. And this is my podcast, What Makes You Famous? It's an extension of the RadioWhat.com internet radio station that I've been running for quite some time. And if you need DJ services, where do I always send you? DJLittleRock.com. One more time, DJLittleRock.com. Check availability and get a free price quote, and maybe you can have me at your next event. You know I like to party with the people. The people need to be entertained. Let me entertain you. Are you not entertained? This week's shows, well, let's see, as I'm recording this week's shows, I will be at the Cedar Lounge Bar and Grill on Thursday evening. That's the video dance party karaoke jam. I have two public shows this week. Thursday night at the Cedar Lounge Bar and Grill in Morrilton, Arkansas. So if you're anywhere in the Morrilton, Arkansas area, I encourage you to go there and check it out. The reason I'm kind of stuttering a little bit on it is because it's my newest public show, and it's been going so well. I think we're in week 4 or 5, and it's just been getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It's the party patio, so we're keeping relatively safe. We stay outside. It's completely fenced in, so we're protected from the elements, but it has an outdoor kind of feel. It's an over 21 party, so if you want to bring your family, there is a restaurant inside at Cedar Lounge. Delicious food. I've had the steak. It's delicious. They sent me home with a steak one night. It took me 2 days to finish that thing. Just wonderful. And the staff is amazing. I say amazing because they are so attentive to the people out there. Cedar Lounge Bar and Grill, Thursday night from 6 to 10. Be there. Video dance party, karaoke jam. Yeah, I said karaoke. You're the stars of the show. I'm just pressing buttons. So, and wear a mask on the way in. Wear a mask while you're interacting with people. And when you're sitting down having your drinky drinks and having some good food, you can take the mask down. Yeah, trying to protect each other. This COVID thing. COVID stinks. I'm done with it. All right. And then on Friday night, my usual Friday night gig, the one I've been doing for years. You'll find me there at least 50 weeks out of the year, 50 Fridays out of the year. It's at the Rab in Conway, Arkansas from 8 p.m. until 1 a.m. It's a good time at the Rab, I'll tell you. Friday nights, full bar, kitchens open, pool tables. They got a pool tournament on Friday night. So if you want to try to make some money on a Friday night playing pool, I encourage you to do that. You could do that. Get involved. And did I mention video dance party, karaoke jam? Karaoke. Once again, you're the stars of the show. You get to sit not too close to me, but pretty close to me on stage to my right, stage right. You get to be a part of that. Yes. All right. Well, today's guest, Angela Watson. Who's Angela Watson? Well, if you don't know by now, you're going to know in the next couple of minutes. So stick around. I did get Angela Watson on the Skype. So if you're listening to the video version of this, listen to the audio version of this, I encourage you to check out the video version on my YouTube page, youtube.com/user/Keys Dan. And you can see Angela Watson right next to me. All right. That's enough intro. I think I've told you where I'm going to be. This week, my public shows, I'll be at the Cedar Lounge, 6 to 10. Thursday night, I'll be at the Rab, 8 till 1. Friday night, 8 p.m. until 1 a.m. All right, let's get into it with Angela Watson. Skyping Angela Watson now.
Okay.
Wow, Angela Watson, you're so glamorous. Look at you.
Oh, thank you. Why not? With the earrings.
Yeah, so fancy. I know, okay, I know a little bit about you, but I don't know a lot about you. Well, if I didn't read your Wikipedia page, but if you were to say the first maybe one or two blurbs at the top, the two paragraphs at the top, what would those blurbs be? What would that be, Angela Watson, in your words?
Okay. Probably most famous for the step-by-step television series in the 90s. For 7 seasons, I played Karen Foster with Suzanne Summers and Patrick Duffy as my parents on the show. And so that would probably be up there. And born in Illinois, pageant queen, singer, dancer, actress.
Okay. All right. Well, that's the different tent poles of you. Well, I mean, first of all, hi. How you doing? I'm Keys Dan. It's the What Makes You Famous podcast, and you're on it.
Nice to meet you, Dan.
Yeah, I appreciate Jill Santabenes for setting this up. I appreciate that so much. How did you get involved with the Nashville Weekly, the Nashville Entertainment Weekly? I keep forgetting because they have many different pages of what they do. They have different avenues, just like you. We're not just one thing. Us people, us humans. You're many different things. How did you get involved with the Nashville Entertainment Weekly?
It's quite an interesting story. So I had relocated from California to Florida to be closer to my family. This is last year, actually. And my fiance at the time needed new contacts. And so we went to an optometrist down the street from my mom and dad's. Turns out he is a songwriter from Oklahoma, the optometrist. And we were just talking to him. He had never heard me sing. And he said, oh, I've written songs, and I want you to sing this Christmas song that I wrote. And I said, okay, whatever. And it turns out it was a real thing. And he was friends with a gentleman who had a studio in the town next to us. And the next thing you know, I'm in the studio recording We Love Santa Claus. And then they knew a PR firm in Nashville, and that was Jill. And that's how I am here and talking with you right now. So one thing led to another, and it's been a pretty fun story.
Well, I got to give credit where credit is due. Who's the optometrist, the slash songwriter? I'm guessing slash other things.
That's right.
Who wrote that song?
His name is J. Michael Witherington, and he's a great songwriter. And we've actually recorded another song in the studio in Criteria Studios in Miami that will be coming out soon as well. But right now we love talking about the Christmas song, which everyone can go to AngelaWatsonSings.com, and the video is down there and all the little links to get the song if you desire.
Oh, that's for sure. You mentioned Miami. You know, that's where I'm from. I'm born and raised in Miami and the Florida Keys, which is where Keys Dan came from. Right. I know that you came from we say Illinois, Danville, Illinois, right? Is that the birthplace?
Yes.
But then you went to Southwest Florida.
Right.
What's that?
Yes.
Yeah, then Southwest Florida. What part of Southwest Florida?
Fort Myers.
Okay. I've done a lot of weddings out there. I do DJ work, and when I was down in Miami, well, even now that I'm here in Central Arkansas, I still do a lot of DJ work. But it made me excited that we've chewed some of the same dirt. But you had a studio in Miami. What was the name of the studio again?
That's Criteria Studios, and actually they've every famous. Jimmy Buffett, Eric Clapton, they said recorded the 70s Layla there. Pretty exciting.
Yeah, pretty exciting. It's very spiritual to go to these places that have been stepped in and touched on. You know, I've been on various stages all over the country, really, that, B.B. King was here last week, and, before he died, rest his soul. Okay. But he was here, and some, just different stages, and you feel that presence of those people. Have you ever had that feeling when you get on those stages? I know you've been on several stages, and all over the country and maybe all over the world. How traveled are you, Angela Watson?
Oh gosh, not as traveled as one might think. I'm really an actress who likes to sing, so I've pretty much been based in California. And I have recorded songs here and there over the years, but never have gone on tour like, the hardworking artists who are out there just on the road every night. So I haven't experienced that.
Well, being a touring artist is a difficult thing in itself. You give up a lot of a lot, including a family life. If you want to be a touring artist, you're going to leave those people behind, and you're going to be all on your own for the most part. And oh, you get a phone call, and I guess nowadays you could do a FaceTime call to keep that. At least that face to face. I'm glad that we have this technology to where, last year when I was doing this podcast, it was all on the phone. And then I said, well, let me try this broadcast software and maybe I can get a face. And this is a whole lot better. It's not quite face to face. It's not quite in studio, but it is better. At least I could see your face. I could see your expressions and read your facial cues. I love your smiling face. That's, first and foremost, you're very smiley, and I know we're just getting to know each other. I mean, I don't know you, you don't know me, but this is a chance for me to get to know you and for my listeners to get to know you as well. Another avenue to promote yourself and to get the word out, not just about your Christmas song, which is fabulous, by the way. Another great Christmas song that I can play at my adult Christmas parties that are going to be coming up real soon. And they're going to go, hey, who's that singing? Oh, I'm going to say, ooh, that's Angela Watson. You mean the Step by Step girl? Yeah, that one. The very same. And I guess that is where most people know you from. But you're so much more than that. You've done more acting. Tell me about the different acting jobs that you've done over the years.
Right. Well, my first series was a TV show called Davis Rules. It was on ABC in the early 90s with Randy Quaid and Jonathan Winters. A lot of people don't even know that existed, but it did. So that's actually where I got my start in television, among other commercials, McDonald's, IBM, Doritos. And then I done plays. I was in the How to Succeed in Business musical. And that was in California. And then when I came down here to Florida, you probably have heard of the Shell Factory. Are you familiar with the world famous Shell Factory in Fort Myers?
I'm not familiar with that. I know we had a lot of seashells down in the Florida Keys where I'm from. And I know we had a big shell place that my brother worked at. But the Shell Factory, is that a place that collects shells?
Oh, yeah. And it's been there since the 70s. And when I was a little kid coming down here, I wanted to get in the bumper boats, but now they have a world-class theater. And in January, when we came down, also my fiance was reading the paper at Subway and saw this new theater had opened and they were auditioning. And so he sent the guy a note on Facebook. And he said, yeah, come out and audition. So in January of this past year, I was in the Dining Room, which is a play from the 80s by A.R. Gurney. And I played 8 different characters. And it's all about the dining room table and how nobody has a dining room anymore. And it was just really fun. So I've been doing that. And we have agents here on the East Coast now. So I've been auditioning. So who knows what's coming up for me at this point.
Yeah, Angela Watson, you're talking about a dining room, and nobody has a dining room. That's family life. That leads to that question where how was your family life growing up in Danville, Illinois? Is there noise in Illinois? Is there no noise? Is that it?
No.
Okay. All right.
There's no noise.
Me being a bobo, I probably pronounced it Illinois a time or two. But growing up in Danville, Illinois, is that a suburb of a bigger town?
Yeah.
Did you spend a lot of time in the city, or was this all small town life?
Oh, yeah, small town. I was born in the hospital in Danville, but the town we lived in was Oakwood, which was only 500 people. And my dad was a farmer, a corn and bean farmer. And it was just really, everybody knows everybody in the small town. And I lived there till I was 10. And we had always gone down to Florida, a lot of snowbirds do. And in the winter, and then my mother decided, it's time to get away from the snow. So my folks moved down here when I was 11. And that's when my mother started entering me into beauty pageants and different talent contests. And I did well. And a manager heard about me and said, oh, you should come out to LA. So my parents had just built this beautiful home on the water, on a canal. And then they said, okay, let's take you to California. So they sold the house and took me out there.
Wow. This is a family that's very supportive of you. Were you an only child?
No, I have an older brother and an older sister as well, but they were kind of, doing their own thing. And my brother, they actually moved out there with us, and my sister's out there now, and she remarried and has all these grandkids. So it was almost like I think I had to move to California just so she could meet her husband and have this amazing family. But yeah, so people will also read if they look online. There's a lot of untruths and falsities that have been written. But the fact is, I had my own bad experience in California. I was involved with a producer. It was at the end of the show, and he pretty much brainwashed me and turned me against my whole family, my friends, my castmates. And for 20 years, people didn't know like where I was. They couldn't reach me because he totally isolated me, and he actually had me sue my own parents, accusing them of stealing my money. It's quite a drama, and one day it might be a movie made out of it.
I suspect the Angela Watson story is unfolding as we speak. Now, this sounds like a very unsportsmanlike person that kept you away from your family. I was involved in a religious sect that did the same thing. I guess that happens as you're growing up. You learn things, but they said, oh, you have to stay completely with God, and if anybody's not with God, you got to shun them, including your family, which is terrible. I mean, how did he keep you away from your family or make them? Was there any truth to the fact that? Or was there any truth that your family was taking money from you, or was this something that was completely fabrication?
No. Yeah, it was completely fabricated, and even though it didn't make sense to me and it didn't feel right, he would take me on long drives and talk to me for hours and hours and repeat and repeat, that maybe I was missing something, and it kind of, I guess they call it gaslighting or whatever. They make you think that you're crazy and that everything that you know about yourself, like you start doubting it. And so even though I won in court and I won against them, I mean, it was just all false. And that is unfortunate, but, God, it's funny because God in the end actually saved me and helped pull me out of it when I started just choosing to be happy and like realize I have to get away from this. It's never going to stop and it's never going to end. And so I pretty much escaped my own house. And then I was out there and I was doing yoga and I was always searching spiritually. But then I realized, even though I'd been raised Methodist in Illinois, I didn't have a personal relationship. And then it's like he was waiting for me. I was one of the lost lambs that came home and brought me home to my family. So in that sense, it's turned the other way, which was amazing. And I just thank God for that. I am blessed.
Well, I'm glad you made it through this ordeal, Angela Watson. I just found out a little something about Methodist that I really enjoyed hearing about. Methodist is more of the New Testament and more of the thankfulness, more of the positive parts of the Bible, as opposed to, well, okay, I can only speak from experience. When I went through going to the Baptist, it was a lot of you will be smited. If you do wrong, you're going down. You're going down. But the Methodist, I've never been to a Methodist church. I've heard that their teachings are more of, hey, be thankful for what you've got, to thank people, and the more positive part. Don't worry about the things that you don't have, but be thankful. What's your experience with the Methodist church?
Right. Well, my parents were still going to a Methodist church when I came back down here, and also Presbyterian, and I think they're kind of similar. But what really saved me was when my fiance took me to, I guess, an evangelical non-denominational, which had the contemporary Christian music, which I didn't even really know existed. And it just struck me like, wow, it really moves me because I love music. I love singing. So that's where I connected with most. And so really feeling that joy and excitement for God. So when I go back to the Methodist now, it's a little like, little bit old school for me and not as vibrant and exciting as I need or I look for. But yeah, it's great. People have their own speeds. Like we invite my brother-in-law, who's Catholic, to our church, and he's like, I thought we were going to church. He makes it like we were at a rock concert.
Yeah,
So it's really whatever hits you.
Oh yeah, I was born Catholic, into a Catholic family. I'm half Cuban from Miami. Okay, imagine that, Cuban in Miami. What? But I was born into a Catholic family, and I learned a lot of. It's a mystery. It's a mystery, and it was a lot of ritual, a lot of stand, sit, kneel, stand, sit, kneel. It's kind of aerobics, I guess. And you always, if you were a part-time churchgoer like myself, I went to Catholic school first through sixth grade or second through sixth grade. And so I learned a little bit there, but then I became a part-time Catholic after that. And then you always look at that one older person in the front, to see what they're doing. Stand, sit, kneel, stand, sit, kneel, stand, and it's and a lot of call and answer. We love God. Yes, we do. That kind of thing. But I like experiencing different churches, and the ones that there's ones down the street. New Life maybe is what they're called, and they do have a band. I was involved with doing the sound for a Christian theater troupe, and they would put on plays, and they did a lot of rap music, but with Jesus poked in there. I don't know what's the. It felt like it just sounded like a regular secular song, but then you said Jesus, and that made it all spiritual. I don't know. It sounds kind of fun. It is, and I guess it brings the young people in. But I know religion is a big part of your life now. That helps you stay on the path or stay on the. I don't go to church, and I'll admit that I don't go, but I do appreciate the people that have a strong faith. I've had that, and I've lost it, but I do feel have an appreciation for people with the faith. I've read the Bible several times. I know what it says. And I believe it's a great book of good teachings for sure. But tell me more about your experiences and how it's helping you and your family, for that matter.
Oh yeah. Well, I really was the prodigal daughter, and my mother, she never gave up on me, and she prayed and prayed, and her lawyers told her that no, that they can try to convince her that it was really me, that I was bad, that I was the one doing this, and she knew. She said, no, it's not, that she wouldn't do that. He's brainwashed her. And so she just kept praying, and she never gave up. 20 years went by. My father thought he'd never see me again. And he's 86. And I thank the Lord every day for keeping him and my family around. I get to, now I give them a hug through a sheet. We call it the hugging sheet. So I protect them. But anyway, so, to be able to hug them after 20 years, it's just so amazing. And yes, I know it's difficult, and especially with the country. And believe me, being in the entertainment business, I unfortunately had my own judgment against Christians and against people who were very faithful. And I'm not happy about that. But that's also just the mindset you get into. And now I just, try to just spread joy and love. And that's what I was doing anyway. And now I just am thankful to our Creator. And that's really what I'm living right now, is whatever God's will, whatever, it's His will, not mine. So I know people always, can get caught up in what am I supposed to do with my life? What am I going to do? And really, if you just pray to our Creator, Lord, it's in your hands. Whatever you guide me to where you want. Because if you really think about it, anything can happen to us. So it's miraculous that we're still around on the planet. And that, because a car could turn this way or that way. And I just happen to believe that it's a greater power that's in control of these little moments that keep us protected. And so if you just turn it over to Him and say, what do you want me to do? I'm yours. And then everything just kind of falls in place, and it kind of takes the burdens and the weight off of you, because it's like, it's nothing you can control anyway, so why worry about it and get upset?
Absolutely. Oh my goodness, Angela Watson. Words of wisdom. You're spreading joy and a good message for that matter. I try to be a good person. I try to treat people like I want to be treated.
Yeah.
Which is the golden rule. But I was thinking, I was contemplating on that a few months ago. The golden rule: treat people the way you want to be treated. But what if you're a masochist? What if you're a bad person? What if you're horrible? Okay, yes, I guess there is that chosen few that okay, you don't treat people the way you want to be treated. Okay, but okay, all right. So, are you still in California right now?
No, I'm down in Florida, actually.
Back in Florida.
It's been pretty amazing. Yes, to be close to my family. And we had not set a date yet for our wedding, but it was at last year when we got engaged. And I just felt like this date came to me. His mother's, my fiance's late mother's birthday was on February 23rd. And so I said, that has to be the day. That's the day we're getting married of this year. And of course, he tried to say, oh, well, it'll be better in the summer if family can come down or this or that. And I wouldn't take no for an answer. And I said, that's the day. And little did we know, if we would have waited, it would have really messed everything up because of the pandemic. And so it was just starting to come on. Like one of my friends who flew from Arizona, her mother wanted her to wear a mask on the plane. So literally, we've had a quarantine honeymoon, and we moved into our house like the day after we got married, and it's just been, it's really blessed. That's what I'm saying. When you turn your life over to God, he'll bless you. And sometimes you have to be patient, and it's not always fun waiting and not knowing what's going on. But when you trust in the Lord that good things happen to you, and he'll take care of you.
Yeah, Angela Watson, you just mentioned the date, February 23rd, 2020. And in my head, I think that's the date that the world ended, isn't it? That's when people started getting sick from COVID-19,
yes.
Right?
Pretty much, yeah. I know, like on St. Patrick's Day I was working in the church cafe, and that was the day that they said, don't come in. And so it was all starting to go down. And by the way, if your viewers or listeners want to check out lovebirds2020.com, that's our website. And we did some COVID skits. The State of Florida Film Commission, they were looking for 19 seconds of how COVID has affected you, or, to do some fun things. So we do impersonations. So you guys might get a kick out of that, of some 19-second little skits that we put on there, as well as daily devotionals that we like reading to hopefully inspire and uplift others.
Angela Watson, another avenue of you being nice to people and helping people. All right, so you came from California. So California is not the place you ought to be if you want to be an actor or a singer. Miami is just fine, or at least the Miami area.
Well, yeah, and actually the East Coast, and especially Atlanta, Tyler Perry Studios, and North Carolina. Plus, my husband just auditioned for a new Hulu series that's filming in Richmond, Virginia. I think Michael Keaton's going to be in that series. And so there are tons of production on this coast. And right now, it seems like the restrictions are not as tight as they are in California, even though they have started some production. But so the filming has picked up a little bit more over here. So it's like a whole new opportunity, new casting directors that we're meeting and possibly being a part of.
Yeah, the COVID-19, all political. It's amazing how you're in a red state and, the restrictions are open. And then California being a blue state, no, we got to tighten them up. We got to tighten it up. I was hoping that November 4th, we'd be done with COVID-19. We'd find out the real truth. Maybe a scientist with some real knowledge would come out and say, you know what? It was only 5%. go about your business, or lock down, whatever. I'm trying to figure out which scientist is telling me the truth. But you mentioned Tyler. I know we can explore that avenue a little bit later. But you mentioned Tyler Perry Studios in Atlanta, and I've heard great things about that place. That their actors have really formed a village, a bubble, if you will, to where they're doing everything in their own little bubble. They get tested often. Food gets flown in or brought in, delivered, and set down, and then someone will go out there and disinfect and come on in. But they have really taken it seriously. Have you dealt with Tyler Perry Studios, or what studios have you worked in on the East Coast that have helped you out, or that you're amazed with?
Well, I haven't yet. I mean, like I said, I pretty much just moved down here last year, and I did the play, and then all of this came down. So I did actually audition, and I met Tyler in California for a series that he did a few years ago, but wasn't a part of that. So right now we're just kind of open to whatever's coming up.
That's pretty cool. Well, tell me about when your family took the plunge and moved and supported you and went to California. When you stepped off the bus, when you stepped out of the car, when you stepped off, how soon was it that you were getting jobs? Were you the typical person that took a while, or I mean, what is typical anyway in California? But Angela Watson, what was your experience when you first got to California?
Yes, I think it's actually different probably for adults. I think it's much harder for adults than young actors. So I went out there with the manager who already had the agent set up. And of course, that's like a huge part of just getting the agent. So the fact that he had that ready for us was a big step. And so I immediately started auditioning for commercials. I was about 14 at the time. And I went on quite a few auditions. I was offered a television movie, but they have this whole union thing. I know they're more, into the union. Of course, I'm a SAG-AFTRA member, but at that time I wasn't in the union yet. So they have to jump through these hoops and possibly pay fees if they hire a non-union actor. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to do that first one. But a week later, I got the McDonald's commercial that allowed me to join the union and then be a union actor from then on. And that first commercial was called Food, Folks, and Fun, a summer McDonald's where I ate chicken nuggets. And we had 52 takes that I had to eat cold chicken nuggets. And then we were spitting them in the bucket by the time the end of the day was happening. They didn't want us to get sick.
Acting is fun. Acting is a lot of fun. Spitting in a bucket. Great. First of all,
so
chicken nuggets. Go ahead.
Commercials.
Well, I mean,
go ahead.
Yeah, no, but you had an agent going out there and doing commercials for McDonald's. I guess was that a national commercial? Do you make quite a bit of money on that every time it airs? Do you get royalty checks on that?
Oh, you can. Unfortunately, that was just for the summer, so it wasn't like one of those ones that runs and runs and runs. But yeah, you can make good money on a commercial if you get one that is very popular. Like the Progressive Flo, that commercial, she's the top commercial earner of all commercial time. I don't even know how many millions she probably has earned from that. Wow. But the cool thing about unions and the contract is that every 13 months, the contract expires. So the actor is in control to say whether or not you want to, if they want to re-up it, then you can renegotiate that, because we have these exclusive agreements, obviously. If you're doing, you guys probably saw the Verizon guy that he went over to Sprint.
Yeah.
Whatever, who knows what his agent did to get him to negotiate that deal, but you can't have commercials on competing products or, otherwise that's not going to be good. So it's really the actors in control of your likeness.
Yeah, you mentioned SAG-AFTRA. I know that's the union. What does that stand for, SAG-AFTRA, Angela Watson?
Right. Well, SAG, Screen Actors Guild, that's been around since 1934, and they always represented the film. And then AFTRA was in charge of the radio, American Federation of Television and Radio Artists. And then, of course, film, and then TV, and then everything got blurry with, digital. It's it's a digital film and television, and so everyone was fighting each other for jurisdiction over who was going to represent what show or this or that. So thankfully, we merged the unions about 6 or 8 years ago. So now we're all covered under one. And basically they negotiate and represent to get actors, a minimum pay, because being a working actor, a lot of people have to have another job, but that's hard to do, going on auditions. And, so with that minimum rate plus the residuals, which weren't put in place till the 60s, that allow actors to live while we're not working, while we're not on camera, and while we're auditioning. So the union has done amazing for us to help us have pension and health plans and all that stuff too.
Yeah, I've never, I've never been in a union. My stepdad works for an airlines, and he's in a union, and I think it works out for him. But I've heard that 99% of actors and entertainers that are in the Screen Actors Guild don't make enough money at their profession to pay the dues. What are the qualifications to get into the Screen Actors Guild? What I've heard is if you do a talking part in a movie, you're qualified. Somebody can sponsor you to get in. Or what are the qualifications?
Right. That's pretty much what it is. They call it Taft-Hartley. It was a law where the producer has to say, well, they've interviewed so many people and that they can't find anyone as good as this person, so they want to get them into the union. But now I don't even know how much it was in California. It was like $3,000 to join the union, and then the minimum dues are about $100, $150, and then it goes up based on how much you earn. So yeah, it's not cheap, but it's definitely, to be considered a professional. And over on this coast, it is a lot harder because Florida and Georgia, they're right to work states, which means you don't have to have union people on the set. So it's a lot different. And, it's like a lot of the laws were made for seasonal workers, like migrant workers in the farms and things like that. So it allowed this thing called financial core, where people could drop out of the union, but then work both union and non-union. So it's complicated and sometimes makes my head hurt. But
oh, I don't want to make your head hurt. I'm interested. I like to learn from people when I do these podcasts, and I'm learning from you, Angela Watson. I'm learning about the business and how it can go south. You took a sip of your drink. I'm going to take my espresso right now.
Yeah, this is my sister cup. My sister gave sisters never truly apart, maybe in distance, but never in heart.
How sweet is that? So
I love you, California.
say it again, because you cut out a little bit. Say your.
Oh, that's my sister Amy in San Diego.
Excellent. Well, for those that are listening to the audio version of this, I encourage you to check out the video version. It's up on the youtube.com, user KeysDan. And you'll be able to see Angela Watson's pretty face right next to mine. See when I'm pointing? That's me pointing at your face. But no, and okay. So what's she doing in San Diego? What's your sister doing out there?
She's retired now, and she has a bunch of grandbabies. So she's just enjoying life.
That is what I aspire to do. Maybe tomorrow. Can I just retire right now and chuck it all? Just move to Tahiti and live under a coconut tree. I would love that. But
you'll have to fill me in on where I need to go in the Keys.
Because
we haven't been down there and we want to go, so we need to know like the good places.
Oh my, for sure. I mean, when I first moved down there in '88, I graduated high school in '86, started on radio pretty soon after that, started doing DJ work and stuff like that. But my mom and grandma were already down there in Key Largo. So I said, well, let me move in with my grandma for a little bit, grandma and grandpa. And it was good. I started doing radio and I guess security work, and I was a firefighter down there. But going up and down the Florida Keys, it's 113 miles long. So there's a lot of stretch on that one road, US 1, the overseas highway, all the way down. But my favorite places to go are Bahia Honda in the Florida Keys. It's right in the middle of the Keys. Bay of Honda is a great
Okay.
beach. It's a beach. It's a state park. It's just there's still pieces of the railroad track, the Gold Coast Railroad, that you can explore. As a kid going down there, I was 10, 11, 12 years old going down, and I would visit, and me and my brother would just walk the tracks and just think about history. And there used to be a railroad that went all the way down. That's how people traveled down to the Keys. And there's 66 islands
Wow.
that are connected by this overseas highway, but there's hundreds, maybe thousands of islands that are not connected that you can also explore. But there's so much to see, so much to do. The Holiday Isle was the place that I worked, and that's what I would call the Kokomo. That's where all the bands would come in, and the stars, just like yourself, Angela Watson. When you go in there, you'll be just another star that goes to the Holiday Isle. But that was fun back in '88, and I stayed there till almost 2009 is when I moved to Central Arkansas. But man, there's so
Wow.
much.
What took you there?
I married a hillbilly. No, her
That's what my husband.
what's that? Say again.
That's what my husband said.
Oh, what? Oh, hey, from Illinois, hillbilly, maybe a country girl, a farm girl for sure. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. But no, my soon-to-be wife's dad was a cop in Benton, Arkansas, and he said, "Well, let me move down to the Keys and be a cop down there before I retire." Well, he took his young daughter down there, and I saw her at a club, Coconuts in Key Largo, and the rest is history. She's gorgeous. And I said, I gotta meet that girl. So yeah, we've been married for quite a long time. And so you're freshly married, aren't you? You have a brand new husband. I mean, is the honeymoon never ending? Hopefully, I want the honeymoon never to end. How's it going with your newly formed relationship?
Absolutely. We're like, we call ourselves the love nerds because we are. And like my mom and dad, they just do everything together, right? They don't have like a guys group or a ladies group, that they just go everywhere together. And that's pretty much like me and Brian. we just love doing, like, we're the male female version of each other. We're people of the opposites. We're like the same. So we just enjoy being around each other, and we make each other laugh and have a good time.
Well, I can see your face light up when you talk about them. That's the magic of having this video. I get to see that. Yeah, all right, that's good. The honeymoon is ongoing. I love it, and I hope that stays forever and ever and ever. Amen.
Amen.
Now, do you have children?
Randy Travis, remember that Randy Travis?
Oh, for sure. I have a wedding coming up in the next few hours. That will probably on the playlist. Oh,
Cool.
well, no, I need to hear a little bit of that. I was talking over you. Say it. Sing it again.
I'm gonna love you forever, forever and ever. Amen.
Oh my goodness, Randy Travis, be so proud. No, I have a wedding coming up this evening, and I'll be playing that song for sure.
You do?
Yeah, and as it gets closer to Christmas, I'm going to be playing the Angela Watson Santa Claus song for sure.
Thank you.
But I mean, and I'm having a good time chit chatting with you, just finding out more about you and your views on things. That you're a South Florida girl. You're making me homesick. I'm sitting there, I'm thinking about. I miss Miami. I miss it a lot. I know it's expensive to live down there. People say that. Living in Central Arkansas, I make, I don't know, maybe 3/4 as much as I did down there, but I have twice as much in the bank for sure, because it's cost of living and all that. But you're still in the, is there benefits to being in the union and being in Miami? Or are they still negotiating deals for you in Miami or in the South Florida area? I keep saying Miami. You're not in Miami. You're in Fort Myers.
No, but actually the union office is in Miami. Then we have one in Atlanta. But all of these projects that I'm talking about, they're all union. They're union films, union TV shows. Unfortunately, with some of the incentives that were in Florida a few years back, where the producers would get tax discounts, tax rate for filming in Florida, the government voted that out. So that kind of halted a lot of the production, like the studios, the Universal in Orlando, they pretty much are gone, and it's minimal in Florida. But in Atlanta to North Carolina, they have a lot going on, but it is all union work. And once we're a union member, we can't, it's against union rules to do non-union work.
Yeah, I've heard lots of things about Atlanta being like the new hub of television shows. So much TV comes out of there. The big one is The Walking Dead, but I know that there's much more than that. And Tyler Perry's stuff that's coming out of there, I'm sure he's going to have production after production in the next months and years that have been the fruit of the seeds that are being planted right now. But I mean, have you been involved with anything in Atlanta, or what projects are you working on in Miami that you're able to talk about?
Right. Well, like I said, we have auditioned for certain shows down here, so we haven't been hired as of yet, but we're open to it. And of course, my husband would like to move to Atlanta or have a place there. I still want to be close to my family, but I'm open to maybe going there for part of the year, when production happens, especially with commercials. They really want you to be there to audition and go for wardrobe fittings and things like that. But now, this is the screen that we audition in front of, and we have a ring light and we have the iPhone, and so we're able to self-tape our auditions and send them to the casting director, and it's pretty amazing that that's how the industry has changed. So we can pretty much do it all right here, and then fly, or if we need to whatever city.
Yeah, technology is great. I mean, just having you in front of me and able to talk to you, and yeah, you were talking about the ring light. I got one. It's sitting there. It's not facing the right way, but it adds a little bit of light. It's amazing what these little tools, these little tricks. You have a nice screen behind you that's and you are framed perfectly, and it softens your face. I mean, it's really and let's talk about that. I mean, social media and stuff like that. Being a gorgeous person such as yourself, and I understand I've been gorgeous my whole life, but people with unrealistic ideas on social media, do you delve a lot into social media? I know that your personal page doesn't have a lot on it, but you do have your Angela Watson Facebook professional page that has lots of information about what you're doing and who you are. But tell me about your views on social media and how it's how it's benefited and not benefited you.
Yes. Well, it's funny because back in the 90s when I was on the TV show, I'm so thankful that we didn't have social media, because I call myself the original country Kardashian. And if I have this picture, you would love this picture. It must be out there somewhere, but I thought I was such a cowboy. I was a wannabe country girl. I'm in LA. I drove a Ram pickup truck for no reason. Okay. Just because I wanted to have it. I had my cowboy hat. I had a hat rack in my truck. I wanted to be urban cowboy. Right.
Well, I'm sure a lot of the producers and casting directors, say, "Oh, here comes the cowgirl, Angela Watson. It's the cowgirl." And you have to have your niche.
Oh yeah, I wore cowboy boots. I had my Guess jeans. The security guard at Warner Brothers where we filmed, he had to teach me how to park my truck. So because I didn't know how to park it into my parking spot. It was funny, but yeah. So if we would have had social media back in the day, I would have had who knows? I would have been all about that. My hair, my makeup, my this, my that. But at this point in my life, I'm kind of over that, and I just want to post things to inspire people and uplift people. So it's fun doing selfies and stuff, but you have to be disciplined. Otherwise, all day long you could just sit there and time goes by and you realize you've really done nothing except look at pictures or videos.
No, I'd much rather have conversations with people such as yourself, Angela Watson. I like having these face-to-face conversations and learning about people. There, everybody has a story, and you have a story to tell. I mean, you know, and some people would say, "Oh, well, she's famous. She's had so much more experiences. She's been in front of the crowd." But you know, even someone who hasn't been on television has a story to tell. Once you're born, you start collecting experiences. So there's, you know, no one is discounted. I think people are just amazing creatures that are filled with knowledge. There's, you know, struggles as well as happy times. You know, how did you? All right, let's go back a little bit. How did you get through that time? Was it all going to church, or was there therapy involved, if I'm allowed to ask?
Yeah, that was for sure. Well, I mean, during the time, like I said, I always did yoga, and I was trying to just find peace among all of that. It wasn't until I found, I guess, what they called The Secret, and then you might have heard of that book. It was like on Oprah, and it was all about law of attraction, and that whatever we think or whatever we choose, it attracts to us. And so when I was in that situation, and instead of, I'd gone through anger, I'd gone through, you know, that wasn't helping me to be angry or depressed or in the dark places. I mean, I wasn't, there were times when I was suicidal that there were angels watching over me, because I didn't want to be on the planet anymore. But something kept me going. And then when I found that, when I started getting up and choosing to be happy, no matter my circumstances or despite them, and then then I was just getting these ideas of, you know, of happiness, and that I need to get out of here. And so once I did that, it was like God and Jesus, and that was like the next step. It was like, he's the ultimate hope, he's the ultimate joy and forgiveness. And anything that I might have felt bad for in the past, even that my parents felt like they might have done wrong, that he can forgive us, that we don't have to have that guilt anymore. So now it's just like, you know, I love church. I love worshiping. We do devotionals, and it's just, you know, an amazing thing. And I just really pray that for everyone who's feeling those things. And of course, that's human to feel anger and upset and fear. But if you can, you know, it's funny. I never had read the Bible. I got a Bible when I was 8 years old with my name on it engraved. And I would always try to read it. Of course, it was the King James version. That's a very difficult version. It's not like the New Living Translation or some of the new translations that are easier to understand. But I never really understood the Bible or really what Jesus came to do. I didn't get it. I just missed out on it. I didn't get it until now, and I really understand the story and of what he came to do for us. And so, you know, that's for me. And so I think if people are open to that, you know, to really investigating, like you are, you say you like to go to different churches, find what connects you and what makes sense to you. I just know that I had that judgment and thought, you know, I was more interested in going to see a yogi speak, but whenever they talked about Jesus, I was like, I don't want to talk about Jesus, you know. But I didn't know him, and I didn't know what the story was about, and so now that it has touched my life, so I would just ask people out there to, you know, if you are in those places and feeling those emotions and feeling like you can't get out, like I felt like I couldn't change, like I felt like I was going to be that way forever, and just kind of negative and down. And if you get to that place, just try to open your eyes and just look at things from a different perspective and say, you know what, maybe I didn't really know what this was about, or really investigate and try to listen with new ears, and maybe you'll hear something else. And so, that just to erase that judgment, just to erase whatever prejudgment that you might have about something or someone. Like, the funny part is that I thought my fiance was gay, and that's why he was so Christian. I thought that he was covering it up because that was my judgment, instead of just seeing the light of Christ in him, and that joy and that positivity and that hope. And that's the way I've always been, and I just didn't know what it was. So
that is amazing. What an origin story. I'm glad that you found a spot that's uplifting, that's making you feel good, that's teaching you, love and joy. I just read a meme, the social media memes, right? If your church is preaching that you hate people, consider finding a new church. There should be no hate, for anyone.
Yeah.
So how did ultimately you find out that the husband wasn't gay, and how long did that take before you figured out, hey, you know what, he's cute, I could date that guy?
Right. Yeah. No, it's so funny. But talking about judgments, like when I first met him 15 or so years ago in our acting class, we did a scene together from Other People's Money, and that was like a movie with Danny DeVito in it. And like if you would have lined up everyone in the acting class and you would have said that's who you're going to marry, I would have been like, no, that was like the last guy in line, right? Like, I didn't think I would be attracted to him. I just was like, no way. And so it's just so funny how you can change, and how your life, you just see things differently. And so I'm so thankful for that.
Wait, 15 years. Now that I'm getting the timeline, it took you 15 years to marry this cat. How long did it take before you started dating him?
Well, that was fast. I mean, once I got out of my bad situation, because I was not allowed to be a normal person during that time.
Right.
And so for 20 years, I had this like facade that I had to live, that I was married to some other person who lived in Colorado. And so, it was like this whole big story that I had to live and to tell everybody, living a lie, basically. And so when I got out of this situation, I had reconnected with Brian that summer at a Screen Actors Guild acting seminar. And so it just kind of like his email that he sent pictures of us over the summer, and it was just kind of like flashing at me. And I was like, wow, I guess I'll call Brian, because he was always there for me whenever I needed to rehearse or for an audition. And so I just called him, and then like I had to drop all that pride in the facade of this image that I was supposed to be, that was not true at all, and just tell him. And like he was just welcoming, and he let me go stay at his place. He actually he has a condo in Santa Monica, and he would Airbnb the sofa. It was like so valuable that international travelers would stay on his sofa just to be in Santa Monica. And so he let me stay there, and then just magically things just happened, developed like, whoa, like where'd that come from? And it was just natural. And he'd been in relationships, but never felt like, better alone than with someone. So he thought he might be a bachelor forever. I mean, he was raised Catholic, and at one time he thought he was going to be a priest. So, so he was kind of in his own happy place with, doing his work with church, substitute teacher, and being an actor. And then, bam, I come into his life. And I was on my way to Florida to be with my family. And I said, well, I'd really like it if you would come with me too. And he did.
Wow. Brian sounds like a very special person. I'm sure you had trust issues and were going through certain things. He had to really knock down, maybe, this is what I'm sensing. I might be projecting, but he had to knock down a few walls before he can get into your heart and become a part, or was that not an issue with Brian?
Well, yeah, you asked me. Sorry, I forgot. I was going to get back to like the therapy part of it. I never, like, when I got out, like, I was able to get out of that situation because I really felt like I was enlightened. Like, I found enlightenment. Like, I called myself the queen of fundum. Like, I was just living for joy, pleasure. There are things, I have quite a story of the things that I was living.
I like
And
stories.
I mean,
Go on.
I could have, if there was a commune in California, I might have ended up there. Let's just say that. So I was kind of on this other end of the spectrum. And so I was really in this open place. But I felt most whole. And like, I'm not going to relive any of that stuff. I didn't need to have therapy because I felt like I could probably help the therapist more by my own experience, telling them, what I had learned and how I was able to get out of that. So a lot of people thought that I would need therapy, or they would say to my parents, oh, maybe she needs this or that. It's like, man, I'm like the best I've ever been here. I don't need that. And so yeah, unfortunately, it was just natural. And that's just what I thank God for, that I was able to get myself in that place to get out and never look back. I'm dealing with legal issues with that ex-partner right now, unfortunately. But that's just another thing, lawyers taking care of it, and I'm not going to let him get to me anymore. So.
Well, before you said lawyers, I was going to say you got away clean. Well, almost clean.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Almost clean.
Yeah,
you got away. But good. I'm glad that you're in a better place right now. You got the one holiday song in the can, and then you say you have another song that's coming out. When is that coming out? And what can you tell me about it?
Well, I don't even. I guess I can. I'm not even sure if I'm supposed to say the name yet, but they're still building it in the studio with the music, and they're doing the background vocals, and I don't even know how to describe it. The songwriter, he mentioned it. He wanted it to be the next "You Light Up My Life," that Debbie Boone song from the 70s. I mean, the first time they did this guitar, like almost like a Spanish guitar, I could imagine just hearing that played on the wave. Like the instrumental version of it was so good, I almost didn't want to sing it.
Wow. Looking forward, hearing you light up about it, it means that there's something special that's brewing right now in your life. Where do you want to go? All right. If you asked me 5 years ago, where do you want to be in 5 years? No one would have expected, I want to be in a COVID lockdown. I want to be in a quarantine lockdown for almost a year already. No, what are you planning in the upcoming years for Angela Watson? What's your brand? Are you heading for more acting, more singing, more family life? I guess,
I'd love to.
Go ahead.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, you asked me about kids.
And the kids.
At this point, we don't have kids.
Yeah.
We don't know. Yeah, we don't know if we'll be blessed with any, or we're talking about adoption or fostering. So we're still kind of getting settled in. But I feel like that's, there's so many. I used to have this like militant idea that if you have a child, you have to adopt one as well. Like if you're going to be selfish, that you got to take care of another. So I still believe that if people are together with love, we have so much to give that, that there's someone out there, there's a child that we could change their life. Or like I saw on this website, there's like 3 children. I'm like, look, there's 2 brothers and a sister they need. So who knows what we might do.
That's very California. Didn't what is it, Brad and Angie? They just started adopting people, didn't they? And maybe Madonna. I think they did the same thing.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. So there's that, and there is. I love worship music. I love singing for the Lord. So I'd love to record a Christian album, and I haven't had a chance to really sit down and write songs. I did when I was younger, but now to really write what moves me and what I really love singing about would be amazing.
Okay. Any of those songs from when you were a kid still able to be recorded? Maybe not by you, but by somebody else, maybe a younger singer. Do you have them still in your pocket that you can present to other singers?
Sure, I do. I do have a couple of them. Actually, the first song I ever wrote was about my grandmother, who we called Mammy. And in Illinois, I think that's where I got my musical talents from, because she and her brothers, they had a country band. They were all self-taught, and they were amazing. And she sang Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain and Loretta Lynn and Dolly Parton. And so that's where I grew up listening to. And the song I wrote called Mammy she passed away when I was 8, which was one of the reasons why we moved to Florida. And it was about her. So it's kind of a sad song, a sad, sweet country song. It's personal to me, so I don't know if others might like it as much, but you never know.
Yeah, I don't know, Mammy. I don't know if that would go over well. Did it age well, Mammy? No, don't sing it that way.
I love you. How I love you.
Oh my! Well, hey, that's how you keep people alive. Is the advantage that you have is you're able to put them into words, into song, and put them down, and then Mammy stays alive forever and ever. Through your words and through your music. That's fantastic. That's a power that you have that unfortunately I do not have. My power is to suck the knowledge from people and play other people's music. I have guitars in the house and pianos and harmonicas, and I can hardly play a lick of any of it. Do you play any instruments at all?
I can play a couple songs on the guitar. I started again and then I got busy, so yeah. I'd like to be able to play the guitar better, but I still got work to do. I can play Puff the Magic Dragon.
Hey, you'll be one of those.
My favorite song, Patience, I guess it is.
Hey, all right. You'll be one of those actors that goes back and forth, actor to musician to actor. The one I'm thinking of is Kevin Bacon, the Bacon brothers. They're going back and forth, and quite a few other actors that are.
Yeah.
Jared Leto, I think he acts and sings, and yeah. I mean, there's not just one thing. You're not limited anymore. You were talking about social media and how SAG and AFTRA had to come together because the internet is wide open, and really entertainment is wide open. You don't have to do just one thing. You could be several things. You can explore your avenues. And as you've been on lockdown, what have you been able to do? In February 23rd, you had something to do. You got married. Yay. But after that, I mean, the whole country started to tighten up. I remember there was 2 months I had no DJ jobs. So I was like, I guess I'm going through my savings and I'm staying indoors. So I had to find different ways to make my mind still expand. What did you do for that first couple of months? I know that Florida is opening back up now.
Oh, yeah. Well, basically, if you go to the website, lovebirds2020.com, you can see what my husband and I were working on, the daily devotionals and the skits, and pretty much just, having fun, shooting videos whenever we felt like the Spirit moved us, just basically getting unpacked too, and it's still not totally unpacked. So that was a blessing too, to have all this time to get settled and not have to be going to work and just get comfortable in the house. And they had closed our swimming pool and our gym where we live, and so they had tennis courts. So we actually took up tennis during the pandemic, which we really enjoy. So that's fun.
That's fantastic. See, you spend a lot more family time. I know that a lot of people took advantage. Yes, they were struggling. There's a few people that were, I don't know where my next check's coming from. I don't know where my next meal's coming from. But, a lot of people that were able to, that did save a little bit, were able to have a little more family time. And I'm glad that you were one of those people that were able to have a little more family time, a little more time to get to know your new husband. And
Yes.
that's beautiful. I mean, okay. I guess I've taken a lot of your time, and I've learned a little bit about you, Angela Watson. And my listeners have learned about you as well. And you have this Beautiful song. I was listening to it again before we started this. The "We Love Santa Claus," and that you have a very sweet singing style. It sounds like a farm girl. It sounds like somebody that was raised right. Singing a song. I don't know how that feeling comes expressed through song, through your voice, but it did. And somebody who's sang in pageants. We haven't even gone through that. Funny enough, I'm the voice of a pageant podcast. I do the intros and outros for a podcast that's called Sash Says, and it's a friend of mine who's a pageant girl. And she said, "Hey, would you do an intro and outro for me?" So I'm involved in pageantry in a roundabout kind of way. I've even been an MC for a pageant at the senior center here in town. And it was pretty cool. It was a lot of older ladies all dressed up, and they were pageanting. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about the pageanting, and then I'll let you sneak on out of here and have the rest of your Saturday for fun.
I thought Brian was going to come in.
We get another actor in here. Come on, Brian. Sneak your head in there. Pop a head.
Brian, are you there?
I'm
are you dressed?
In my t-shirt.
You can wave to Dan and all the new fans that are going to find you on Lovebirds 20.
I'm not in the picture yet, am I?
No.
Okay. I'll slide around.
You know what I mean?
All right.
He's a character.
She happens to be in the room where my clothes are.
All right, stay behind the curtain. This is not a risque podcast.
Yeah, stay behind the curtain.
It's the Wizard of Oz. The man behind the curtain.
Pay no attention.
What do you know? Who's going to talk?
Now tell me about the pageantry.
Oh, he's getting ready to do The Godfather. He's from Miami, so he also does Scarface, so that you'd like that one.
Maybe we can do dueling Scarfaces, huh? Something like that.
It's a disembodied voice.
Oh, no, take it easy.
Hey, he does voiceovers. That's right. He does voiceovers. I saw that. Yes, I was scoping your social media as well. He's a voice actor. Yeah.
Yes.
So cool.
So about the pageants you're at.
Yes. So it's good to have Brian as a disembodied voice. But yeah, tell me a little bit about your pageants, and then we'll let you go along your way. It seems like Brian wants to take your time, and he has that complete right because he's married to you, baby. There he is.
Hi, Dan.
What's up?
He shaved it. He has a mustache.
Yeah.
You know what?
Interesting audition yesterday.
He looks like Inspector Clouseau.
You could totally pull.
Since directing Michael Keaton's.
Man, and I'd say that Michael Keaton is my Batman. That is fantastic. I'm so.
Oh yeah.
What an amazing thing to be working with Michael Keaton, for sure. So it's funny about No Shave November. I've been shaving this part and this part because my wife likes kisses, and if I don't shave this part and this part, I get no kisses. All right. Well, we're getting it. I'll let you have your wife real soon, Brian. She was about to talk.
You guys in person.
Good to meet you, man. We could talk to you a little bit later on the future podcast. That would be fantastic, man. Learn about Brian.
Be fun.
All right, my man.
We'll have a few laughs. All right, brother. Thank you for.
No problem. All right.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
Yeah. Now get out of my shot. That's what an actress would say.
No, I love.
He caught it.
Yeah, we're good at directing each other, and I'm like a mad director. I love directing him, and I give him all these, adjustments and.
No, I could see you. Yeah, I love that you're doing projects together online with that lovebirds2020.com thing. That's fantastic. Oh, yeah. That's how a creator has to create. But I do want to know a little bit about the pageantry because my friend would be very upset if she's listening to this and she go, she's a pageant girl. How come you didn't talk about the pageantry?
Yes. So I, from age 11 to 13, I was in pageants down in Florida. And, if my path had been different, I might have gone on to Miss USA or, different Miss America, probably, but instead of going to the acting. But that helped me to get kind of out of my shell, because I was pretty shy growing up, quiet. And when my mother entered me into this pageant, I won. And that was just the preliminary pageant. We didn't really know what was going on. From there, I went to the state competition in Orlando, and then the nationals in Atlanta. And it seemed like every weekend we would be going to a different pageant, and they had all these categories: swimsuit, winter wear, sportswear. And so I had to learn how to model, on the catwalk or whatever, and perform for the judges and do the interview. But the part about the talent is I had always been a tap dancer. When I was 3 in Illinois, my mother had me start tap dancing. But in the pageants, I don't know if your friend had this same experience, but it always seemed that the best dancer could not beat a singer. Even if they were an okay singer, they would always win. And so that was the one category that I couldn't win. And I told my mom, I'm going to be a singer. I'm going to win talent. And we bought one of those karaoke, you sing the hits of Patsy Cline. And I thought I was going to sing Sweet Dreams or Crazy. But of course, those were I can't even imagine. Those would have been too hard for me to sing. But I had never heard the song called Walking After Midnight, which is kind of an easy, jazzy kind of song. And I went in my room for the whole weekend, practiced it, came out and said, this is what I'm going to sing. And they said, okay. So I was 12 or 13. I sang the song, I won, and then that kind of started the singing from there. And then I started taking vocal lessons and got more active in singing.
Perfect song choice.
But
Go
for
ahead.
my pageants, I amassed over 180 trophies and 60 crowns. I mean, I have a picture somewhere of this collection that my parents took to California, all these trophies, some 6 foot high, some really huge crowns. It's pretty wild. Yeah, so it was fun. And, I just enjoyed doing it. And of course, who wouldn't like winning? And then that led to modeling. And then the modeling led to, I did a Face Finders model search in Dallas, Texas when I was 13. I won Model of the Year. And they also, at this modeling school in Fort Myers, they were teaching us to do commercials. So that was my early version of getting into acting. And when I was 12, my mom and I went to New York City for a summer, and where I did some print modeling and fit modeling for a swimwear company up there. So that's kind of what the pageants did for me. And of course, I had savings bonds, which came in really handy when I needed the money a couple of years ago. And after 20 years, they had come to fruition. So there were great things, and about helping me build my confidence and to be more outgoing. That I'm sure helped me in my acting.
Yeah, and you learned about winning and losing. I that's something that's really striking me about all the kids getting a participation award. When I was a kid, I either you win or you lose. There's no participation award. You have to learn. If you lose in something, that means, hey, you either have to strive to get better, or maybe you're just not going to be good at that thing. Find another avenue. If everybody gets a participation award, nobody knows what they're good at. Nobody knows what to strive for. Oh, look, you're wonderful. You're fabulous. You're the best at this. You're the best at that. And we're just lying to our children. Don't do that. Yeah. I mean, I'm guessing that you must have lost at some things, and that made you strive to be better because of doing the dancing. You weren't winning because you were a dancer, and then you said, well, the singers are winning, let me try being a singer, right? So you strive to be better. What are your ideas on the participation awards, and will you raise your kids that way when they come? I say when they come.
When they come, yeah. No, I mean, I understand that, and that's difficult. Of course, I'm not a parent, so I don't know those feelings yet, but I do feel that they have to go through those things. Like my father has said about me. He's often felt bad that he was too protective of me, that if he had been not as tight, of controlling of me, letting me go out and experience more in the world, then he feels like maybe I would have not found myself in that situation, which is true. So I think we need to loosen the reins a little bit on our kids and have more faith in them that, they'll get hurt, but that's what they need to move on. So I think I agree with you there.
Well, Angela Watson, that sounds like a good daddy. I blame myself. When we have our children, we want them to be better than we are. I have, two girls, and I want them to be so much better than I am. And when they fall short,
Yeah.
I blame myself. I could have done better. I could have done more. I should have done this different. Yeah, you're always going to be his little girl. That's for sure. That's for sure. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I've had a blast talking to you, Angela Watson. Tell people again how to get a hold of you. How do you want people to connect with you on this crazy social media, the information highway that can be very detrimental and also good. Use it for good. Now, how do you want people to connect with you, Angela Watson?
Yes, absolutely. They can go to angelawatsonsings.com. That's the official website. There's another Angela Watson website, but that's not official. It's unofficial, and it's not me. So angelawatsonsings.com, and that will take you to my Facebook page. And so you can send me a message and, just check out all the things I'm doing. I have an artist page as well, like you mentioned, that will keep you updated on my interviews and new things going on in my life. So thank you for staying in touch. I really appreciate all the fans who grew up watching us and that still enjoy the show on Hulu now, showing it to their kids, because I think it's it's a quality show that they don't really make anymore. So if people can enjoy that, that makes me happy, and laugh at my silly, vain character, that sometimes you're like, I can't believe Karen said that, but she's a good role model. You just do the exact opposite of what she would do.
Yeah, I know we didn't talk about step by step. I figured you were all step by stepped out by this time in your life. I've watched the show on Hulu, and I know that the Patrick Duffy and Suzanne Summers character, they got married rather quickly and pushed this family together rather quickly, and then the whole rest of the show is the unfolding of how these kids and the families, the husband and wife are getting to know each other really as they're married, and the kids are getting to know each other whether they like it or not. And yes, your character was very prissy and but very warm-hearted, very nice. She when all push came to shove, the character was loving and helpful. Whether she was prissy or not, but no, I go check out Step by Step on Hulu. It's streaming everywhere, and you'll see a young Angela Watson as she's growing through, as she was making her way into this crazy world, and now we see the finished, the product as it is, not finished yet. There's still more to come, much more to come. You already have an AngelaWatsonSings.com, so that leads me to believe there'll be a whole lot more singing in your future, as well as the devotional stuff at the the Lovebirds2020.com.
2020.com. Yes.
Yes. 2 avenues that you could explore with Angela Watson and her handsome husband, Brian. That's fantastic. All right. Any other avenues you want to explore? Anything else? Any other shout outs you want to give?
Oh, gosh. I don't know. That's good. It's amazing. Thank you, Dan. It's nice meeting you. I thank Jill for putting us together in Nashville Entertainment, and look forward to meeting you in person and having fun when we get our next the next single out. We'll be sure to let you know.
Yeah, one day I got to get back down to Florida. My mom and grandma are still in Key Largo in the Florida Keys. Mom's on the ocean side in a CBS home, and grandma's on the bay side. So I got 2 places to stay down there in the Keys when I go. So yeah, and if you want to talk about where to go whenever you're taking a trip down there, I traveled up and down the Keys. There was not only was I a firefighter down there and worked in radio and DJ and stuff like that, but also was in a fire extinguisher service where I would fix fire extinguishers all up and down the Keys. So I know all the places to eat, all the places to stay. It's cool. Well, I usually finish these things off.
Thank you, Dan.
I usually finish these things off with last words for the people. And Angela Watson, you can give some words to live by, something that you heard a long time ago, or just whatever pops into your head at this moment in time. Angela Watson, last words for the people.
Last words for the people. Trust in yourself, trust in your heart, and if you choose love, then you can't go wrong.
Well, there you have it, party people. Angela Watson. So much more than Step by Step, okay? I know that's where most of you know Angela Watson from, but she is so much more. We didn't even get to that until the end. You see? There were so many more avenues to explore, so many more things she's done. It's so good. I mean, I had no idea who she was before I started talking to her, but I'm so glad that I talked to her. She's a friendly, loving person, and that's what people need to be. It's just friendly and loving. Take care of each other. And I see that she uplifts people. Her and her husband get together and do these uplifting videos and little skits and devotionals. Yeah, whatever it takes. If it's religion that helps you, do it, and I did mention in there, if the religion is teaching you to hate another person, don't do that religion. Go find something else. Don't hate. Create. That's right. Don't hate. Create. I think that was on the Instagram stories. They had a little "don't hate, create." That was the one of the things that one of the stickers that you could put on your Instagram stories a while back, not even a year ago. But yeah, I hope people keep that in mind. Just love everybody, love your brothers, love your sisters, love the people, and we'll get through this crazy ride. And there's ups and downs. Angela Watson, you had your ups and downs. I'm glad that you made it through, and you have a fine husband that's helping to keep that smile on your face, and you're keeping a smile on his face as well. His mustached face. That's a pretty interesting mustache. That's pretty cool. Well, I look forward to hearing more projects. I'll be playing the "We Love Santa Claus" by Angela Watson, and definitely around Christmas time. It's too early still. The day after Thanksgiving, that's Christmas time. I know. The bigger department stores are already playing Christmas music, putting out their Christmas decorations. Sometimes it comes too soon, but then once it's here, it's the most wonderful time of the year. It seems like people are more loving. I would expect. I suspect at Christmas time, people are more loving to each other and feeling good and experiencing, hopefully, family time. And I'm glad that you took the quarantine time to get closer to your hubby and your family and experiencing new things like tennis. Really? Okay. Tennis is cool. I played tennis in high school. I tried out for my 9th grade tennis team. Didn't make it. Ended up swimming. All right. All right. I think I've rambled long enough. That's it for me. If you'd like to tell your story, I encourage you to give me a call, 501-470-6386, or email info@radiowhat.com. That's it for me. It's Keys Dan, radiowhat.com, djlittlerock.com. Peace. I'm out of here.